Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to go a bit romantic on you. I know, a bit of a surprise that. I'm going to discuss The Last Romeo by Justin Myers. Now, if you don't know the name Justin Myers, you perhaps might know him by his pseudonym, the Guyliner. Now, the Guyliner was a very popular blog that was been running in the past few years. Justin Myers set up the Guyliner as an anonymous blog where he would talk about the perils and the humour and the comedy and about dating as a gay man in contemporary London. And it was all based on true stories on his own dating record, but it was all completely anonymous. And he got a huge following. He has really sharp, insightful writing, and it was very witty and at times very sad, but it was really brings to life so much of our hopes and our hurt that comes from dating in London. Now, Justin finally revealed himself, I think it was about a year ago, when he also got the book deal to sign The Last Romeo. And The Last Romeo is very much based on his own personal experience. So here we have James, who is a man who comes out of a pretty toxic and damaging relationship and decides to set up an anonymous blog to follow how his dating life goes as he enters back on the romantic dating scene in London. Now, the tension in this book is very much between sort of James's private self and his public self, because his anonymous blog becomes exceptionally popular and he too fears of himself being ever revealed, and he's sort of in this real internal tension about how he feels when he goes on dates. But also there is very much the private self of James and all his hopes and fears as he gets back into the romantic scene and hopes to find the last Romeo, the last perfect man for him. Now, so why do I like this book when I normally steer clear of romances? Now, it's true, I do normally steer clear of the whole dating genre, and I know that's so popular, but I often find it quite saccharine, quite twee, and also unrealistic. Bridget Jones, for example, I didn't relate to her at all, and the whole sort of, she has a studio apartment, and you just think, you can't afford a studio apartment in London, do you know what I mean? What I really liked in comparison in Justin's writing is that it's really realistic about the tough life we have living in London, how expensive everything is, and how tricky it is keeping your work-life balance and the sort of hopes and crestfallen dreams that we have. But what I also really liked about Justin's angle is, yes, there's the sexuality, and he does talk about that openly, and that's very exciting and a real plus. I particularly like the fact that there's a real angle about one of his dates having real issues with coming out, and of course that remains a desperately pertinent subject, and Justin deals with that perfectly. But what I really liked, even more than this, was Justin, at the time when he did the Guyliner, was in his mid to late 30s, and his character James is in his mid to late 30s as well. Now, dating when you're in your mid 30s is very different from dating in your mid 20s. We all have that little bit more baggage. We all have the sense of risk is greater, that there's more on the line, and yeah, that loneliness and the sense of belonging and the sense of fun is sort of a little shorter, and the hope is a little higher. And I really like that tension that Justin brings out in the book. So The Last Romeo, if you don't know Justin's writing, it's sharp, it's insightful, it's funny, and this is really well written, and it's a really fresh take on a really popular subject. I really enjoyed The Last Romeo by Justin Myers, and I recommend it to anyone who's looking for a piece of commercial fiction that actually has a lot to say. The Last Romeo, Justin Myers.